Good afternoon, ladies, and welcome back. This is our summer series coming to an end, which is kind of crazy because it's been a very short summer, but a long summer at the same time. I hope all of you had a meaningful Rosh Hashanah. You know, Rosh Hashanah is very misunderstood. Rosh Hashanah is often thought of this day of judgment, which it is, but Rosh Hashanah is an opportunity for us to think about, bless you, for us to think about our future. It's to think about what it means to be the best version of ourselves. It's to think about what it means to be someone who's expressing their fullest potential, someone who wants to live a life of greatness and meaning. And that's what Rosh Hashanah is. If that's what Rosh Hashanah is, what's Yom Kippur? Yom Kippur is the opposite. If Rosh Hashanah is about looking into the future, Yom Kippur is about wrestling with our past. Yom Kippur is about recognizing that we made mistakes and there are some failures. Yom Kippur is about understanding that there's something called teshuvah, this power of returning to the truest self that each of you have. That, by the way, we believe that real teshuvah is something that can only express itself through limud haTorah, through learning. Why? Because learning is supposed to lead to action. It's not just for inspiration, it's not just to make you feel good. It's supposed to turn you into someone who's a critical thinker, who gets you to move and really be inspired about taking action. So part of what we're doing at the Safra Synagogue for the next, this 5,784 after Sukkot, is that we're going to be building a learning program here, like for the whole morning and afternoon. There'll be classes early in the morning at 6 o'clock in the morning here, going all the way up until about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock every day. Every day. There'll be like a list of classes posted from 6 a.m. until I'm assuming that the 6 o'clock class is going to be for the men because they're here early in the morning. But there will be a class here for women every single day, Monday through Thursday. There'll be class here every single day. It's me, myself, Rabbi Farhi, and I'm not sure if Rabbi Mizrahi is in the lineup, but I know it's Rabbi Farhi and I tag teaming. And then, yeah, but we're changing that. We want him to start giving everything. We want everything to be given in person. So, no, after Sukkot. It's going to start after Sukkot, not during Sukkot. Yeah. We're going to start right after the holidays. After the holidays, God willing, inshallah. We're going to start after the holidays. We want to create a place of Torah where people could be involved and grow and think and challenge and not just, we want to provide that service for the community, and we're hoping more and more people join. And hopefully, we're going to be, I have a list of all the topics. I don't have them with me, but if you want, I'll show it to you after the class. Lots of different topics. It's going to be fun and exciting. And if you don't like it, we can change it. That's the cool part. So it's not finished. So God willing, after the holidays, there'll be a notice that'll go out. You'll all receive about the upcoming classes that are going to be happening, God willing, here every single day. Okay, having said that, this last of the 10 paths to God, our conversation for the summer is going to come to the end with us having conversation about responsibility. And this is like a very Jonathan Sacks idea. It's not enough to be a... say it very eloquently. It was Rebbetzin Youngrice, Alav Shalom. She used to say that, Judaism doesn't need cheerleaders, right? We don't need cheerleaders. We don't need spectators. We don't need fans. We need people playing the game. We need people, we need people that are out there and actually, doing the thing, doing the heavy lifting, not being afraid to speak, not being afraid to be outspoken. The people that I really want to be a Jew means to be involved. You can't be a spectator. You can't say, I like being Jewish as an outsider. To be a Jew means you're an insider through and through, and you feel a sense of responsibility, right? And that's what this particular talk is about. We say, if you look at source number 2 for a minute, you say, Kol Yisrael Arevim Zeh Lezeh, every single Jew, we're responsible for one another. Right? As a matter of fact, on Shabbat, if you did not hear Kiddush, and I made my own Kiddush, I can make Kiddush for you. How many times can I make Kiddush on Shabbat for somebody? I can make a Kiddush for each one of you, separate Kiddush. Why can I do that? Why am I allowed to make that same bracha over and over again? You know why? Because Kol Yisrael Arevim Zeh Lezeh, we're responsible for one another. And if you can't make Kiddush for you, then I'm still here to stand up for you and do it with you. You're never alone as a Jew. There's always someone there who's willing to help. I'm not sure if you saw this inspirational story about this young Israeli hiker who was about to be the first Israeli to climb Mount Everest? Did you guys see the story?
No, I read that.
What, you read it? So he was climbing up. He was a few hundred kilometers away from the top. And I'm not sure if you know this, but most people don't make it to the top of Mount Everest. Most people end up dying on the way up. Okay? So the way it works is you have like lines that are attached to you. And as you climb up, the air gets thinner and thinner. You usually have air masks. You take blood thinners to acclimate to the lower oxygen. And sometimes people's bodies go into shock from just being exhausted. So he noticed this body starts sliding down. That's all you see. And that doesn't mean someone just tripped. That means someone just gave up.
Somebody gave up?
They gave up. They can't make it anymore. They're exhausted. They're either frozen, you pass out, whatever happens, physical exhaustion. Most people end up dying like that as a result of it. So this Israeli guy, I'm blanking on his name right now, he sees this guy sliding down. And he recognizes him as a Turkish man he met at the base of the camp. And he sees another person sliding down. So what does he do? He says, if I go down to save these guys, I'm never going to make the goal to the top of the mountain. So I have a choice to make. I could either do me and be the first Israeli, write the book, the first Israeli that got to the top of Everest. He's going to get there. He's Israeli, right? We don't stop until we get there. Or he's going to stop and save another human life. So he takes the latter. He says, I'm going to save this guy's life. I met him there. He was a sweet guy. I want to save him. He gets off the path that he's on, comes down, takes this guy. He's passing out. He wakes him up. And as he's trying to help this guy, he ends up breaking his own mask. So he doesn't have clear oxygen anymore. And he's trying to help, asking people to help him with oxygen. He's carrying this guy down the mountain. Okay, carrying the guy, because he had to carry this guy, he couldn't wear his gloves. He had to take his gloves off. So all of his fingers are frostbitten, trying to save this guy. Right, and the whole time he doesn't know if he's going to make it, because he's saving this guy, and this guy is unconscious. He's fainted. And when he comes to, he starts screaming from pain, and he's not making it easier, he's making it harder. And the whole entire way down, I'm sure this guy's thinking, should have left this guy decided I'm getting frostbitten, I can't breathe, I might go down saving this guy. I could have written my story, I could have been at the top of the mountain, right? But what does he do? What's that? It's a better story? This is the better story. He recognizes it. Why? Because, I said this when I came back, and I think this is such a powerful idea. One of the lessons I learned in South Africa is the power of seeing another human being. Remember I said last week that the way you say hello is saubana, I see you, right? And that I see you is a beautiful greeting, because it's not just, hey, hello. No, I acknowledge you as a human being, I see you. And, one of the halachot is that in the morning, you cannot pray in the morning until you have enough light to recognize your friend from 6 feet away. Right? Why? Because you can't talk to God until you can see another human being. That's what it means to be a Jew. To be a Jew means that I could stop and pause and see the humanity in another person. That's supposed to humble me. There's no ga'ava between people. Some people get so caught up, look at that fancy watch, look at that ring, that bracelet, this and that, the car, the house, the shtuyot, the chitzoniyut. It's stupid. It's a distraction, right? At the core, every single person here and every person watching, listening, every human being is Tzelem Elokim. Every one of them, black, white, Oriental, Japanese, whatever they are. We're all God's kids, all of us. But to be a Jew is something different. To be a Jew means you feel a sense of responsibility, not only for your people, but for the world. You care. It's a deep amount of care. The Jews disproportionately give more charity than any other group of people in America. 10 times more. We make up less than 6% of the American population, and we give more than 10 times more charity than any other group in America. And unfortunately, 93% of most of that money, or fortunately, does not go to Jewish causes. 93% of that money goes to saving the whales, to universities, to whatever it is, some other who knows what, but definitely not to Jewish causes. Jewish education should be for free. There's enough money in the Jewish world for every single yeshiva to be for free 100%. And the only reason why it's not is because we haven't figured it out. We spend $1 billion on giving kids a free trip to Israel, but we haven't figured out yet how to create a system of free education. By the way, the public school system, free schooling, you know who started it? You know whose idea it was? Ezra HaSofer. When he came back to Israel after the Jews were exiled from Jerusalem to Babylonia, and they came back, the first thing he instituted was free education for everybody, both boys and girls. Everyone had to get an education. That's a Jewish idea, that education has to be free. We've kind of veered away from it. But the idea, the last one of the 10 paths to God, is feeling a sense of responsibility. Now, like all things, and I speak about this all the time, an emotion, we often think, is something that defines my moment in time. If I feel it, great. And if I don't feel it, then okay, it wasn't meant to be. We reject this idea. Our emotions sometimes need to be elicited through our choices, right? I don't feel like I really want to do anything right now. I'm feeling lazy. But right now might be the right time for me to stand up and do something. I don't really feel like I want to be loving right now. I want to be selfish and sit alone and listen to my music. But maybe right now your spouse, your children need you, and that's not about you anymore. Sometimes you got to be bigger than the situation you're in. Sometimes you got to be bigger than your emotions. You cannot allow your emotions to define you, right? And this is the mistake we make. This is unfortunately part of our pop culture today. Everything is your emotions. It's about how you feel. As Jews, we don't care about how you feel. It's about what does this moment in time demand of you? What is the right thing to do right now? Are you thinking through the situation, or are you just allowing your emotions to dictate your mitziyut, your reality? This is a mistake. Every situation requires a proper critical moment of thinking, evaluation. What is the right response here? Sometimes what you feel is the wrong response. Sometimes you got to be quiet and say nothing. Sometimes you got to speak up and be loud. Depends on the situation. But the emotions, my friends, should not be what dictates your response. The intellect is what should be dictating your response. And that's what part of responsibility is. Part of responsibility is knowing when to stand up and to scream, and knowing to sit down and be quiet. But you feel a sense of response. It's us. It's me. If you saw a child, a baby, crossing the street without a parent, what would you do as a bystander? Every one of you, stop that kid right away. No questions asked. But there are hundreds of scenarios that happen like that every single day, where we're supposed to find the courage to get up and say something, but we don't want to take responsibility. I'll turn a blind eye. I won't look. It's not me. Not Ruthie.
Some laws.
What's that?
Some laws stop you to do it.
It's true, there are some laws to stop you to do it, but if you're a good Samaritan, right? I don't think anyone, if you're a good Samaritan and you want to help, yeah, it's scary. Should you help someone with CPR?
Look at that guy in the subway.
Mm-hmm.
The white guy, because 2 weeks later happened to a black guy.
I know, I saw.
Everybody applauded that he was set free.
Right.
Because he saved somebody.
Right. It's true that the laws are, I agree with you, the laws are corrupt, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't do something. That doesn't mean you should be a bystander. Of course the laws are corrupt. Yeah, the laws, it's so funny, like, you hear laws like that. Last week in California, there was a CVS that was being robbed. Every day they're being robbed. You saw the story? The guy, and they called the police. This guy he stole like whatever it is, $800, the limit, because once it's $900, you got to go to. So they called the police to take this guy out. Take this guy out. Yeah, take this guy out. The police do you want to press charges? So the manager of the CVS says, I don't want to press charges. It's too difficult. It's not worth it for me. He's going to be out tomorrow anyway. So they dropped all the charges. They let the guy go. This guy that came back to the store with a gun and killed the manager. This happened last week, right? You see how a society that doesn't have proper laws becomes corrupt. It's corrupt. Who wants to work there? Who wants to do anything? So that's breaking down. The police don't want to take responsibility. Everyone's leaving California. They're all leaving. The government there doesn't want to take responsibility. The people don't want to take responsibility. So when you have no one taking responsibility, what happens? The whole entire society comes crashing down. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehakol nihya b'dvaro. He saved him. He saved that guy. That Israeli guy saved him. He saved him. He saved people. It was a powerful story. I'll send you the story. It's a powerful, powerful story. I want to just. What's that? Rabbi Hajjaf posted it on his Instagram. If you can't find it, go to Rabbi Hajjaf's Instagram, Lawrence Hajjioff. It's a picture of some Israeli guy not looking at the camera. That's the story is there. Okay, listen. Look at number 3. Pastor Martin. This is what he says. I'm sure the story just came out yesterday. In Germany, they came first for the communists. Listen to this piece, ladies. In Germany, they first came for the communists, and I didn't speak up because I wasn't a communist. Then they came for the Jews, and I didn't speak up because I wasn't a Jew. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I didn't speak up because I wasn't a trade unionist. Then they came for the Catholics, and I didn't speak up because I was a Protestant. And then they came for me, and by that time, there was no one left to speak up. Right? I'm on page number 1, number 3. Look at number 4, Harambam, Mishnah Torah. Throughout the year, everyone should see himself and the world as if they are evenly poised between innocence and guilt. This is Hilchot Teshuvah. It's very, very, very apropos for this time of the year. This is the time, the Aseret Yemei HaTeshuvah. Each day of the week, there are always 7 days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. And the Arizal says that each day is a microcosm of that day for the year. So today is Tuesday, and today you have the power of fixing every single Tuesday. The 52 Tuesdays of the year, you can fix today. And tomorrow's your Wednesday, you can fix every single Wednesday of the year. And Thursday and Shabbat and so on and so forth. There's always a week between the holidays, 7 days. Each day is a unique time for you to fix that time. And the Rambam is saying this is time for Teshuvah. What are you returning to? You're returning to the most innocent part of who you are, the part that your soul has yet to express. Each of you has a picture in your mind's eye of what it means to be the best version of yourselves. And we're distracted because of time and life. But Teshuvah means I'm returning to what? To God. How? By returning to being the best of me. So the Rambam says, throughout the year, everyone should see himself and the world as if they are evenly poised between innocence and guilt. If he commits a sin, he tilts the balance of his fate and that of the world to guilt, causing destruction, God forbid. And if he performs a good deed, he shifts the balance of his fate and that of the world to innocence, not just thinking of yourself and what it does for you in your own judgment. We're talking about global ramifications, bringing salvation and deliverance to others. That is the meaning of the biblical phrase, the righteous person is the foundation of the world. Namely, that by an act of righteousness, we influence the fate and save the world. One small good deed. If that's all we were thinking about. Like that guy, the climber, he's making a choice, he's making an evaluation. What should I do right now? Do I go for the fame, the glory, the money, the book tour, right? Or do I settle for something that's unknown? Because he had no idea he was going to survive coming down that mountain. And what kind of a story would have been if that guy died along the way? They would blame, the Jewish guy killed this Turkish guy. Who knows? Those Israelis. Who knows what they're going to say in that story? Look at number 5. An old man was walking on the beach down when he noticed a young man picking up starfish, stranded by the retreating tide, and throwing them back into the sea one by one. He went up to him and asked him why he was doing this. The young man replied that the starfish would die if they left exposed in the morning sun. But the beach goes on for miles, and there are thousands of starfish. You won't be able to save them all. How can your effort make a difference? The young man looked at the starfish in his hand and then threw it to safety into the waves. He said, to this one, he said, it makes a difference. To one, it makes a difference. I can't solve all the problems in the world, like the Rambam says, but that's not your job. Your job is to do what's within your reach, within your power, within your ability, right? You want to make sure that you're able to do what you're doing. And you do what you can, that's it. Don't worry about it. To be good means I'm proactively working on being good. Let's skip number 6. Lo telech rachil ba'amecha v'lo ta'amod al dam ra'echad. Look at number 7 on the bottom of the page. Do not stand idly by when your brother's life is in danger. I am the Lord. Feel a sense of responsibility for your people. Megillat Esther, my favorite piece of here. Turn to the page 8, number 8. Vayegidu leMordechai, and they told Mordechai what was going on with Esther. Mordechai had his message delivered to Esther. Do not imagine that you, of all the Jews, will escape with your life by being in the king's palace. Meaning, if you do nothing, Esther, don't worry. You think you're going to survive this? You're not. On the contrary, if you keep silent in this crisis, relief and deliverance will come to the Jews from another quarter, while you and your father's house will perish. And who knows, perhaps you have attained the royal position for just a crisis. You think that you're randomly put in the situations that you're in? You think it's an accident that this is the synagogue you strolled into, and these are the people that are teaching you, and these are the people around the table? There's no accidents in Judaism. Everything is part of a bigger plan. But you are put into the situation that you're in. This is what Mordechai is telling Esther. You're either going to step up or someone else is going to do it. It's going to happen. Don't worry about Yeshua. Every single moment of life, you have an opportunity of stepping into a situation where you can be the deliverer, you can be the savior. It's a choice. Choice you're going to make. Rav Avram Yitzchak HaKohen Kook, look at number 9. The pure and the righteous do not complain about wickedness. We're not worrying about why they have it so good. They increase righteousness. They do not complain about heresy. They increase faith. They do not complain about ignorance. They increase wisdom. I'm not going to complain about the things that are wrong. I'm going to get up and do something about it. That's what it means to be a righteous person. To be righteous means I see the iniquities. I see what's unfair in the world. I see what's wrong. I'm going to get up and do it. The dugma. This is many years ago, I was at a synagogue for Sudat Shlishi. It was the first time, I didn't know anyone in the synagogue. I was a newbie walking in. And I saw that they wanted to do Birkat HaMazon, right? And I see the books on the bookshelf. There's about 100 people in the room. No one's getting up to do anything. So I got up, I grabbed all the books, and I started dishing it out. Because I see that as an opportunity to do something. I want to be helpful, right? Someone's in need of something, I'm going to go out and help. I want to be that guy that's always going to be in a position to do good, right? That's all. By the way, that's all we have. The choice of living a life of meaning is a choice that you're going to have to make. And no one can make that choice for you. It's a choice that you're going to have to live. There was in Korea, they did a study where they had prisoners, American prisoners. They were divided up, these prisoners, into 2 camps. Those prisoners that said, I don't really know what I'm doing in life. I just really want to be comfortable. I'm not waiting for anyone. I just want to get out. When the Americans come and save me, I'll leave. Those people were put in medium security facilities. Most of those people died through disease. Most of those people did not escape. They never escaped. No one escaped from a medium security facility in Korea. The people that were going to fight to get out, the people that had a very clear vision of where they wanted to go with their future, they were always put in a maximum security facility. No one died of disease in that facility. And there were always people that escaped. Maximum security. Think about that. Someone who gives up and doesn't have clarity or vision of what they want every single morning, what do? Nothing. When it's not clear to you what your mission is, you know what happens? God forbid, you get sick. What's motivating you? What's your call? What's your mission? To do nothing is not an option. Create a space of balance, of health, of happiness, where you're going out, you're doing, you're building, you're accomplishing, you have purpose. You have strength, you have power. This is what we spoke about, Viktor Frankl, right? He saw that the Holocaust survivors that had someone they were waiting for, right? They lived, they survived, starving, hunger, emaciated. There's nothing, they didn't get sick. But the people, the second they found out that person they were waiting for was dead, gone, their meaning was lost, within 24 hours, 40 hours, they died. Unknown, they don't know why. Gone. So much of our immune system is tied into our ratzon, our will. Sheer will. This guy that saved this Turkish guy, the Israeli guy, he survived because of his sheer will. Power, ratzon. Do you want to live a life of meaning? Do you feel a sense of responsibility? So we could talk about it, but it's going to be up to you to feel it. It's going to be up to you to do something about it. Look at number 10, Moshe. And Moses says to God, who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and free the Israelites from Egypt? And God said, I will be with you. That shall be your sign, that it was I who sent you. And when you are freed from the people from Egypt, they shall worship God at this mountain. What's he saying over here, Hashem, to Moshe? You just do you. And don't worry about it. You doing you, stepping into that role, I'm with you. You're never alone. God's going to help you. There's nothing you can't accomplish. You have infinite power standing behind you. You just don't see it, but it's there. Infinite power. Could I say that again? Infinite power. Infinite. Do you know that when you're running and you get tired, and I'm talking about like, not like a short run, like a long run, you've only used 30% of your energy? Do you know that? When you're feeling exhausted, you still have another 70% of reserve that you haven't tapped into yet. You're complaining, but you have so much more. Do you know that you're made from stars, from angel dust? That you're part of the infinite spark of God? He blew life, your neshama, into your body because He said that this world needs you, that you have a purpose, you have a mission. Do you understand that? Every single day, when you say Moda Ani, Hashem is saying, I put you here, you go do you. Don't wait. Perkei Avot, Hu Haya Omer, Im en ani li, uksheni la'atzmi, va'im lo achshav, now! Now's the time. Rabbi Tarfon said, number 12, the day is short, the task is great. The laborers are lazy, and the reward is much. The master insists. He used to say, if it's not for you to complete the task, but neither are you free to stand aside from it. Don't worry about the results, Mishnah is saying. Don't worry about the end results. I can't save everybody, but I got to play my part. One of the things that I learned in the jungles of Africa was that every single animal is wired for survival. Every animal, it only thinks about surviving. And by the way, we're wired exactly the same way. We think about survival. Now, this is the problem with survival. If I'm a lion and I live in Kruger Park, there's so many impalas all over the place. It's like a small deer. It's very easy to go hunting. It's like they call the impalas in Kruger Park McDonald's for the animals. They're all over the place. They're all over the place, right? The lions don't have to struggle in Kruger National Park. It's easy. That's why they're not very big. They're small, tiny lions, right? Because when it's easy, I don't struggle. And when I don't struggle, I don't grow. When I don't work hard, I don't build muscles. So ready? Survival doesn't make you great. Getting by doesn't make you great. For you to become great, you have to hack the survival psychology that you have and push it to want to become something more. You have to want to become something more. Because if you leave your default setting, the default setting is survival. I'm going to get by. I'll be okay. I'll survive. I'm going to lean on my natural talents to be okay. But if you are someone who's preparing for Yom Kippur, you're thinking about your character traits. You're thinking about the things that are holding you back from becoming a better, greater, smarter, faster version of yourself. And Hashem gave you those traits, all of it, the good and the bad, for a reason. Every trait that you have is part of your unique programming, because that's what you need to do to become you. Ready? God can give you anything in a second, but why doesn't He? He's infinite. Because if He gave you everything, He would be destroying you. He gave you enough space for you to choose what you want to be. Think about that. There's nothing more meaningful in life than knowing I did that. I stood up. I saved. I got up. You have humility. You're not alone. You did it with God. But the choice to be this versus that, the choice to be someone who's great versus someone who just survives, that's on you. There's no greater pleasure than knowing that you chose to live a life of meaning, that you use your time for good, that you help, that you were forced to do a little bit of more good in the world. That's all it is. That's what he's saying over here. That's what that Mishnah is. That Mishnah is all about, don't worry about the results. You choose to keep wanting to overcome your natural operating system of survival and switch it for greatness. What does greatness look like? Greatness looks like, I really could use another hour. It doesn't look like I could use another hour in the morning of sleep. Greatness in the morning looks like it's hard to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, but I have a long day ahead of me. Greatness looks like I got to be careful what I eat. Greatness looks like I got to put time in developing my body. I got to exercise. Greatness looks like I got to spend time reading. I got to create a space to develop my mind. Greatness means I got to spend time thinking about the people around me. Can I help them? Greatness means taking care of yourself. But if you let things go, which is so easy to, especially in our generation because we're so wealthy and comfortable relative to any generation before us, we're doing very well. But in that same space, it's very scary. The Gemara in Gittin on Tisha B'Av tells a story of a girl named Marta. Right? Marta was the daughter of one of the wealthiest men in Jerusalem at the time. Her father was a fabric trader. And her whole life, Marta would walk on fine silk. Her feet never touched the ground. Can you imagine? Dad would not let me walk on the grounds. Everywhere this girl walked, there was someone unrolling fabric for her to walk on her whole life. Okay, now Jerusalem is coming to a siege. There's no food, there's no water. And she has nothing to do, she's starving. And she walks outside, and it's her first time she's going to step on the earth. And she accidentally steps on feces, on poop. That experience, she sees that, she cannot overcome what she saw, and she drops dead from that experience. She dropped dead. She drops dead in the story. She dropped dead. Yes. I agree with I 100%. 100%. You're right. So you're 100% now. So now, on the one hand, we have to be. I think that story is such a powerful story. It always left a mark on me, because who doesn't want to walk on silk every day? I do. Right. But the story is giving you a little bit of a reminder that when you're saying yes to something, you're saying no to something else. And when you're saying no to something, you're saying yes to something else. Right? So you got to be careful. You got to find balance. And anytime we live in a life in any one extreme, that's a problem. In Judaism, you're supposed to be balanced. You're supposed to find that middle road, the shlav hazahav, that middle path. Right? Now you got to be careful. Rabbi, I'm naturally a balanced person. I'm even-keeled. I'm so good. The problem with someone who's an even-keeled nature is that generally they struggle with laziness, because you're not motivated. I'm okay. I'm good. I'm not bad. But greatness doesn't come from being lazy. Greatness doesn't come from being even. Greatness comes from pushing, from dreaming, from struggling, overcoming the struggle. Right? So you got to take responsibility for yourself. Bereshit Rabbah, number 13. Rav Isaac, or Yitzchak, this may be compared to a man who was traveling from place to place, and when he saw a building in flames, it's possible the building lacks a manhig. He wondered. I'm on number 13. A manhig is a ruler or a builder or a owner, right? Is possible has to have someone who built it, right? An architect. He wondered. The owner of the building peeped out and said, I am the owner of the building. Similarly, Abraham, our father, said, is it conceivable that our world is without a manhig? The Holy One, blessed be He, peeped down and said to him, I am the Baal, I am the owner, the master of the world, right? When we look at, when I'm sure you do also, when I look at the world around us, I see a complex system of life. The circle of life is perfect. Every creature in the jungle knows exactly its purpose. Everyone is completely aligned with its unique purpose of life, except for me and you. And therefore, it's very easy to say, well, in the same way, it's unclear to me what I'm supposed to be doing because there's chaos in me. Maybe there's chaos in the world also. Maybe it's not me. Maybe the world is just a chaotic place. But do you understand that everything around you works in perfect precision? Do you know that you have 3 trillion cells in your body? 3 trillion cells in your body, and they all communicate with one another wirelessly. The fastest internet is right here. No delays. Right? It's a massive internet network that happens instantaneously. Where did that happen? Who set that up? Do you know that in your body, your cells know how to make copies of themselves? Each cell is able to go through its own reproduction. That's a machine. Imagine you have these things in your body, in the blood. They're like a copy machine, and they make copies of your DNA over and over and over again. It takes 7 years for you to get completely new cells. Every single body is brand new. Every cell in your body is brand new. That's how we age. Just like a copy machine isn't exactly the same over and over again. They get a little bit frayed at the edges, dark lines. That's what happens as we age. Those machines, they are called telomeres, right? And the telomeres are like little lines at kind of like the what do you call the plastic at the tip of your shoelace called? It's called an aglet. An aglet. An aglet. The plastic around the tip of the shoelace is called an aglet. Okay. Now, if you notice, as your aglets get older, what happens is they start to fray. So that's what the telomeres are, a special plastic around, like a plastic around your cell. And as we get older, the cells begin to fray. That's what aging is. But it's perfect though. He creates a perfect system. So that you're able to go out there and have the strength to build a family, raise the world, and then you start thinking about these existential things. You have more free time, right? And the sadness of age is that we stop believing, we stop telling the stories, we stop dreaming. But that's not what it means to be a Jew. To be a Jew means I'm always dreaming. To be a Jew means that I walk with God because I see God everywhere, right? Hashem hu roi, he's my shepherd. God is my shepherd, and He's with me everywhere I go. You're never alone. All He wants for you is to take action. He wants you to be His partner in this world. How do you partner with God in this world? What does that look like? So it means that you're someone who is, kind, giving, loving, understanding, patient. It means you're making a kiddush Hashem. We spoke about that a couple weeks ago. You're pushing, projecting the best parts of yourself to the world around you. That's what it is. That's all it is. I want to skip all of this stuff. That's right. He was always saying it. Turn to page 17. Sorry, number 17. It's like the second to last page. In 1888, on the bottom, Alfred Nobel, a man who invented the dynamite, was reading his morning papers when, with a shock, he found himself reading his own obituary. Turned out that a journalist had made a simple mistake. It was Nobel's brother who had died. What horrified Nobel was what he read. It spoke about the dynamite king, who had made a fortune from explosives. Nobel suddenly realized that if he didn't change his life, that's what he would be remembered for. At that moment, he decided to dedicate his fortune to creating 5 annual prizes for those who made outstanding contributions in physics, chemistry, medicine, literature, and peace. Nobel chose to be remembered not for selling weapons of destruction, but for honoring contributions to human knowledge. The question of Yom Kippur forces us, right, is not so much will we live, but how will we live? For what do we wish to be remembered for? That's what this time is. So therefore, from my perspective, it's all about you thinking about how you could take achrayut, responsibility for the world that you're in. That's what Hashem wants. Hashem wants you to be His partner. You have to stay up, Hashem, I want to be your partner. These are the things that are holding me back. Please help me overcome these things. Give me these things so I could go ahead and do what I got to do to be your partner. Okay, I want to look at this last part. I want to read it together with you. It's like 1.5 pages, but it's super powerful. It's worth it for the whole series just to come to this last piece. This is the best part. There's a sheet that you have that says, Why I Am a Jew. I have another one. I have one more left over here. Anyone needs it? I have 2 more, I think. Why Am I a Jew? It's another sheet. It's another sheet. There should be a separate sheet called Why I Am a Jew. I have 3. I have a couple more over here. Anyone need it? I have 2 more. All right, let's read this. This is such a powerful way to go into Rosh Hashanah at Yom Kippur. I'm so excited for you to see this. And if anyone wants, by the way, any of the sheets, want me to email it to you, you want a soft copy, I'm happy to send it to you, let me know. But take this one home. This is for you and Yom Kippur. Ready? Okay, the deepest question any of us can ask is, who am I? To answer it, we have to go deeper than where do I live or what do I do. The most fateful moment in my life came when I asked myself that question and knew the answer to be, I am a Jew, and this is why. I am a Jew, I love this piece by the way, not because I believe that Judaism contains all there is of the human story. I admire other traditions and their contributions to the world. Nor am I a Jew because of anti-Semitism or anti-Zionism. What happens to me does not define who I am. Ours is a people of faith, not fate. Nor is it because I think that Jews are better than others, more intelligent, creative, generous, or successful. It's not Jews who are different, but Judaism. It's not so much that we are about what we are, but what we are called on to be. I am a Jew because, being a child of my people, I have heard the call to add my chapter to its unfinished story. I am a stage on its journey, a connecting link between the generations. The dreams and the hopes of my ancestors live on in me, and I am the guardian of their trust and for the future. I am a Jew because of our ancestors. We're the first to see the world is driven by moral purpose, that reality is not a ceaseless war of the elements to be worshipped as gods, nor history a battle in which might is right and power is to be appeased. The Judaic tradition shaped the moral civilization of the West, teaching for the first time that human life is sacred, that the individual may never be sacrificed for the mass, and that rich and poor, great and small, are equal before God. I am a Jew because I am the moral heir of those who stood at the foot of Mount Sinai and pledged themselves to live by the truths for all time. I am the descendant of the countless generations of ancestors who, though sorely tested and bitterly tried, remain faithful to that covenant when they might so easily have defected. I am a Jew because of Shabbat, the world's greatest religious institution, a time in which there is no manipulation of nature or our fellow human beings, in which we come together in freedom and equality to create every week in anticipation of the Messianic age. I am a Jew because our nation, though at times has suffered the deepest poverty, never gave up on its commitment to helping the poor, or rescuing Jews from other lands, or fighting for justice for the oppressed, and did so without self-congratulation because it was a mitzvah, because a Jew could do no less. I am a Jew because I cherish the Torah, knowing that God is to be found not just in nature's forces, but in moral meanings, in words, texts, teachings, and commands. And because Jews, though they lacked all else, never ceased to value education as a sacred task, endowing the individual with dignity and depth. I am a Jew because of our people's passionate faith and freedom, holding that each of us is a moral agent, and that in this lies our unique dignity as human beings. And because Judaism never left its ideals at the level of lofty aspirations, but instead translated them into deeds which we call mitzvot, and a way in which we call the halacha, and thus brought heaven down to earth. I am proud simply to be a Jew. I am proud to be a part of a people who, though sacred and traumatized, never lost their humor or their faith or their ability to laugh at the present troubles, and still believes in the ultimate redemption, who saw human history as a journey and never stopped traveling and searching. I am proud to be part of an age in which my people, ravaged by the worst crime ever to be committed against the people, responded by reviving a land, recovering their sovereignty, rescuing threatened Jews throughout the world, rebuilding Jerusalem, and proving themselves to be as courageous in the pursuit of peace as in defending themselves in war. I am proud that our ancestors refused to be satisfied with premature consolations, and in answer to the question, has the Messiah come, has always answered, not yet. I am proud to belong to the people Israel, whose name means one who wrestled with God and with man and prevails. For though we have loved humanity, we have never stopped wrestling with it, challenging the idols of every age. And though we have loved God with an everlasting love, we have never stopped wrestling with Him, nor He with us. I admire other civilizations and traditions and believe each has brought something special into the world. Aval zeh shelanu, but this is ours. This is my people, my heritage, my faith. In our uniqueness lies our universality. Though being what we alone are, we give to humanity what only we can give. This, then, is our story, our gift to the next generation. I received it from my parents, and they from theirs across the great expanse of space and time. There is nothing quite like it. It changed and still challenges the moral imagination of mankind. I want to say to Jews around the world, take it, cherish it, learn to understand and to love it, carry it, and it will carry you. And may you in turn pass it on to future generations. For you are a member of eternal people, a letter in their scroll. Let their eternity live on in you. How powerful is that? So what I did was, that was all Rabbi Jonathan Sacks. Okay, so what I did was, I have a list of 10 questions at the end, which are review questions. Okay? How would you answer the questions? Who are you? Why do you think that some Jews only remain Jewish because of anti-Semitism? What do you think Rabbi Sacks rejects? Why do you think Rabbi Sacks rejects that approach? Do you think Jews are better than non-Jews? What is then that makes us? What is it that makes us different? Have you thought about the chapter in Jewish history that you will write? What Rabbi Sacks calls the letter in the scroll. What would you like to be? What does Rabbi Sacks say our ancestors were in the first realized about the world? What was that? Why do you think being a link in the chain of generations of Jews is a compelling reason for Rabbi Sacks to remain a Jew? What aspects of Judaism does Rabbi Sacks provide as reasons for why he is proud to be a Jew? According to Rabbi Sacks, how have the Jewish people responded to tragedy and suffering in Jewish history? Through being what we alone are, we give to humanity what we can give. What is it that Jewish people uniquely contribute to humanity? And lastly, how would you answer the question, why are you a Jew? These are questions we need to answer for ourselves before Yom Kippur. If you want to have a profound, meaningful Yom Kippur, I want you to answer these questions. I want you to take this, read it again, read it to your family. Take it, read it by your Seudah, whatever it is. There is no, this year very much depends on every single person in this room's ability to take one step closer. Okay, I'm going to end with the following. We know that there are three primary relationships in Judaism, right? There's a relationship between man and God, man and people, and man and himself. So the good news is that Yom Kippur will forgive you for everything that you did not do for God. Any mitzvah between you and God, wiped clean. Yom Kippur, just being on Yom Kippur alone, making Yom Kippur will wipe clean the slate. Any mitzvah that you did not do, or any aveira, anything that anywhere you missed the mark, any chet, right, that you committed, Yom Kippur, clean slate. It's over. But there's one thing Yom Kippur cannot fix. You know what that is? Between you and another person, the relations, the humanity, that cannot be fixed by God. That's you and only you. So I tell people, don't worry about your mitzvot with you and God. Those al-chets, God will forgive you. Show up, you'll be okay. You want to make this year a meaningful year? Which relationships do you need to tweak? How are you making them better? How are you becoming someone who is aware, sensitive, kind, giving, loving, understanding, more patient? Maybe you need to be more. Maybe you're too patient. Maybe you need to learn to be more assertive. Maybe you need to be a bit more crafty about how you're approaching people in the family, because the place we get the worst is our family. They're the people that suffer the most, the people that are closest to us, the people that we think, they'll forgive me. Those are the people that we need to be working on the closest with on during these days. Right? And where do you start? Start at the small things. Start at the small things you could conquer. Don't worry about the big things. You can't fix all the big things. One starfish at a time. But you'll get there.
You ask the members of your family, how would you like me to be better?
Yeah, you could have a conversation with them. Do I upset you? Am I doing something wrong? Can I be more, what is it? Tell me where I'm getting it wrong. Tell me where I'm getting it right even. I want to do more of the right stuff. And again, for me, I meet with a lot of people. I do a lot of counseling and whatnot. And when I meet, especially with couples, the first thing I want to determine is what this couple's vision is for their own future. If you're meeting with someone and they can't see a positive future, they're in big trouble. You can't fix something in the present if there's no future. Right? So the first thing I want to figure out is there a future for this couple? Do they see a future with each other? And if one of them doesn't, then generally speaking, that person is the problem. Right? The problem is always coming from the person that can walk away. Right? The person that is least committed is the person that you have to attack first. So that's usually what I do. And then after I have that, am I willing to go back and worry about the past? Therapy is the opposite. Let's talk about your past first, and then we'll figure out your future. It doesn't work that way. Rosh Hashanah always comes before Yom Kippur. Rosh Hashanah is what? Is a hope for the future first. You can't change your ways unless there's hope for tomorrow. So the first part of this avodah, this time of the year, is Baruch Hashem, you made it! Woohoo! That's what our Happy New Year is. right? I'm in 5'7", 84". That means that you're here for something more. Great. Next part. That's the right. That's we said Gemar Tov, right? We want the Chetimah. We want to have a Gemar Chetimah Tova. I want that final stamp. That's what Yom Kippur is about. Because there's a complete part of who you are. There's a part of you who you are right now, but right now also depends on how you see your future. But right now is also very much part of where I came from. So Rosh Hashanah, the first step to fixing, to building, to creating a future is thinking about who you want to be this year. What do you want the year to look like? Where are you going? And now that you've conquered it, because you've heard the shofar, the inner cry, that hope, right? You're ready to go ahead and grapple with your past. Let go. Do the tshuva. Tshuva is a powerful thing. The person that I upset, whoever that person is, all I got to do is ask mechila, sincere mechila. The first step is called vidui. Tshuva, by the way, there's no mitzvah teshuvah. The mitzvah teshuvah is first acknowledging that you made a mistake. The admission. I admit. Confession. I have a black box upstairs. Anyone want? I have hours. I'm just joking. I don't have a black box. But that's in the church. But here, it's beautiful. You don't need to speak to the rabbi to make your confessions. You go to the Bet Knesset, you go wherever you are, and you stop for a minute. If you need to write it on a sheet of paper, write on a sheet of paper, this is what I confessed. I did wrong. Confess it. Write it out. Articulate it. Speak. It has to be said. Spoken. This is what I did wrong this year. I regret it. I don't want to be that anymore. I'm going to change. Please forgive me. Boom. Erased. Now, I know what you're thinking. Rabbi, come on. We know this game. I play it every year for 7 days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. I'm the best person I could possibly be. Can I only ask you a question? Ready? Someone, every single night before they go to bed, they set their alarm clock to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. They want to go to Bet Knesset. Right? And then every day in the morning, he wakes up at 5 o'clock, the alarm, and he hits the snooze button. Which person is that person? The guy that sets the alarm clock to wake up in the morning before he goes to sleep, or the guy that pushes the snooze button? Which one is that person? What? I'm going to argue he did it for 30 days. No, it's not both. The guy that's constantly setting the alarm over and over, that's who he wants to be. Remember what the Mishnah said? Lo alecha ligmor hadavar. You're not here to finish it. You just got to get up, but you got to do it. Don't worry about finishing it. Just do it. Do something. Right? Be consistent. Want. Your ratzon is the key to anything. I'll end with the Zohar. Zohar says, En davar haomed lifnei haratzon. Nothing stands in the way of the will. No matter what it is, good and bad, be careful what you will for. You'll get it. Right? But you have to will it. You have to want it. You have to really want it. I want you to all to be written in the book of life, of health, of parnasah, of hatzlacha. I want to wish you all tiskul shanim rabot v'ni'imot. I want you to have an amazing year. But take ownership. Your story is so profound. You have so much potential in each of you. Don't give up on it. I'm telling you, the little good that you do makes a major amount of difference. Shana Tova, Gemar Tova, have a great week. Thank you for coming, everybody.